right. Good morning. It's March. It's March 2nd. One more day. I believe we're in the Ides of March. That's a scary time. What we're going to talk about today is we are going to talk about color and using color in a very, very dramatic way. So let me flip on to my screen share. Right. So we have here in front of you, hopefully, a slide from our painting by the brothers Hildebrant. The brothers Hildebrant were a very unique painting force in the history of fantasy art because they contain the same brushstroke. No two people are ever supposed to have the same brushstroke. It's like having the same fingerprints. And, nobody's supposed to do that. No two snowflakes are the same. These two guys were so close that it became impossible to tell one from the other. And a lot of times, as brothers who both loved to paint, they would work on paintings together. It was said that when they were living in their studios, one would go to sleep, the other one would paint. The one who was painting would get tired, he'd go to sleep, the other one would wake up and he would finish the paintings. And they did this for many, many years until they went on their own. Now, what you'll notice first about the brothers Hildebrant, both Tim and Greg, is they have this incredible sense of lighting. Maybe Greg even more so than Tim. But you see this sun effect that is on the grass, letting you know it's a warm and sunny day. But you also see that the wizard, Gandalf, because this is all pre-Lord of the Rings, this is the stuff they base the imagery from Lord of the Rings on, is all in shadow. Now, it's more than just making the skin tone darker, and you'll see that as we go. But that's a very, very particular trait to what they almost constantly try to do. And we start off subtle looking at these, right? Some sunlight, some shadow, all good. Here we have more intense sunlight. It's that kind of sunlight you've seen lately in March as you're going out and the sun is low and your eyes are just squinting. Gandalf here is squinting. The front of everybody's outfit is far lighter than the back of everybody's outfit. So we're seeing these casted shadows. I think this is interesting because this is a early drawing of Legolas. In fact, if you know the movies pretty well, you can pretty much figure out who everybody is. All right. Now we're going to kick it up a notch. She seems to be glowing. I mean, it's not just white of her dress. She really seems to be glowing in comparison to everything else around her. And why this is subtle and very impressive is everything around her doesn't seem all that dark. This doesn't seem dark. This is all light. But her, because she's painted in these bright whites or these pure whites, whoops, let me get back to my image, bordered by these grays where the whites hit seem to be just illuminated, almost like there's a light source inside the actual painting. Of course, you see the colors fade out here in the background. You see his face is orangey, almost. You see a little bit of light playing here on his shoulder, but his cloth is nowhere near the same tone-wise as her dress, because her dress is bright white and yellow. If you take a look there, there are very light yellows and even grays in there that function for the shadows. Here's another one. All right. The overall darkness of this picture is crazy. Because if you were to take each one of these colors separately and look at them, super muddy, super dark, super muddy, super dark, splash of orange. All right. Now, paint itself doesn't have the ability to give off a light source. So this is all about contrast. Trees behind them, they went black. All right. They did put a little blue for highlights. Went black here, gets black in here, some texture here that is both very dark, gets even darker as we get farther down. Black, 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 dark colors, dark colors, dark colors, regular orange. Here's the only real white you see in the picture is the middle of the torch. So these lighting effects are all about contrast. Some of them are more subtle, like we see in here, where everything's yellowed out. But there is a whole lot more dark in the background than you would ever imagine. If you were to take a little piece of paper, cut a slice of a hole the size of a dice in there, and just start moving it from area to area, you would see how dark these things get. And that's why the white contrasts it. Or in this case, this light contrasts it. All right, there's one swatch of light falling across this darkened path. Face is orangey, browns. Most of this, his tunic is kind of purpley, some oranges. I mean, and then it's really white. Now, are they famous? Sure. You might recognize this movie poster they did. This is one of the things, aside from the Lord of the Rings, that got them to be pretty famous. And then they went through their careers doing everything from movie posters to comic book cards. Here you see a much later painting, because occasionally they would still go back and paint with each other. But the reason I'm showing you this is the variance that you can get on the internet as far as colors. These are all light blues. These are dark blues. I'm going to guess that this was the original and somebody lightened this one, or it didn't process right. As you look at this face, this is orange. All the skin tones here are blues, dark blues. A little bit of orange there on Luke. Black, 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 black. All right. Same thing here. His skin tone's all in purple. She's mostly in purple. We get a little bit of actual skin tone from the leg. That's it. Otherwise, her skin tone's purple, and we don't question that because we know in reality what it's supposed to be, and we know she's in darkness. So to our brains, that makes complete sense. But if you were to see just this face on its own, you'd be like, why is that girl purple? They also illustrated, or at least I think it was Tim, maybe it was Greg. I think it was Greg. Illustrated a lot of fantasy books. So they redid Wizard of Oz, or he redid Wizard of Oz. He redid Pinocchio. He did Dracula. I have the Oz and the Dracula books. Believe it or not, Wizard of Oz is a pretty good read. Dorothy is looking more correct here than she does to the novel than she was in the movie. She never had red slippers in the movie. They were silver. She was actually kind of a sandy blonde. I know, right? Movies. They always lie to us. All right, here's another one. Great lighting effect. Our barbarian girl is oranges here, purples for the shadow. Creature coming at her here, purples, oranges. All right. Rest of it, relatively normal. Almost, I would want to say a cowboy painting sky, like they had back during the cowboy crazes, in art. Here we see an even more intense version. She's all purple. And because she's all in almost a monochrome purple, this orange of this devil really looks like it's standing out. This is Tim Hildebrant one, a little more subtle. Same thing, dark colors with just white placed in very specific areas. All right. So that's one of Tim's. This is one of Greg's. Greg tended to, when he would paint his own stuff, use even brighter colors. Even though a lot of those buildings are very dark, this wing is purple. Kind of got some dark reds in it. It gets orangey and brighter red as the flame comes out as the light source. So the light source has to depict what's going on in the picture. All right. Same thing going here. Odin's all in blues. The burning sky behind him makes that blue make it look like he's in darkness. Very cool. Thor's all oranges. This is another one, maybe a little bit risque, but look at those clouds. All right, if you can pull your eyes off the ground. Look at the clouds. All blues, 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 white. Roll. Oranges. Actual skin tones up here in the shadows. Purples. There's actually some orange within that purple, which is bizarre. Even look at the flowers. Blues, whites. That's how they make that thing jump. All right. And a bunch of Glowy Pinocchio ones. I don't know what happened to Pinocchio, but I know what happened here. He was saying some stuff that was not true. Much more subtle hues, still has that glowing effect. All right. Question in your head probably is, am I going to have to do this? You're going to try. We're going to see. For those of you guys still working digitally, this will be a much easier assignment because you can change out your colors quicker. I would essentially come up with my idea first. It's somebody holding a candle to a face or a torch, or if it's a lightsaber in the dark, or whatever it is that you want to paint or do as a color pencil drawing. Everything has to be dark, all right, except for those areas you want to glow. It's not impossible. Here's one I found on the internet that some kid did of a centaur with flamey feet. All right. Everything here is relatively dark except for the flamey feet. So if you want to do a fantasy character, this completely lends itself to this, but also, you know, it lends itself to other themes as well. So if you want to do something more along the lines of a dramatic moment, that would be absolutely fine. All right, Tim and Greg Hildebrant. I really urge you guys to go online and get information about them or look at their artwork because there's so much of it. There's absolutely so much stuff that they painted, especially between the two of them. Greg is still alive. Tim passed away back, I believe, in 2006. And yes, oddly enough, both twins. Huh. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to see your pre-sketches coming up in the next few days, so please get those done. You can do them in color pencil if you don't want to, if you want to play with the color beforehand. And let me know, are you going to do a color pencil on a darker paper? That would be easier. Are you going to do a watercolor? Or do you have paints at home that you're going to use to try to achieve this effect? All right. So send me an email. Let me know. Keep me in contact. I will see you guys later. Stay out of trouble. If you can't stay out of trouble, don't get caught. Bye.